Hi guys, Tucker here with a new video, and this video will be most fun melee spec in PvP in World of Warcraft Dragonflight. We are talking about 10.0.5 current patch. Of course, 10.0.7 will be out in 1 month, something like that. I think 3 weeks. We will remake one once we are a bit further into the patch, but right now 10.0.5 I want to discuss about the most fun specs until now and give a retrospective towards those specs. We're going to talk about melees right now, and again I want to preface this discussion. It is entirely subjective based. It is an opinion. You may find that Fury Warrior is the most fun spec for you, and for you it might be S tier, but for me it might be another tier, and that's okay. It is not power related. It could be D tier on power, but S tier in fun, and I would put it in S tier because it is a fun tier list. It is not a power based tier list. If you want to have a power based tier list, I have made multiple in the past. There was a Solo Shuffle one not so far ago, so you can always go hop in and watch those tier lists. But this one is for most fun, and I hope you do like it. Press the like button if you like those kinds of content. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this video, and you will watch more videos of these genres, discussion videos, PvP guides, PvP matches like in Solo Shuffle, BG videos, everything combined on this channel. So thank you for your support. Now let's start right away with the first class, which is Retribution Paladin. Also, timestamps below, you will see like timestamps about the specs that I'm talking, so you can always hop in, hop out whenever you want, whenever you're cooking or whatever. You can always go back and watch the segment that you do want to watch. I try to give as much insight as possible. I play all the classes except one, but I'm going to discuss why I don't play that class. But yeah, let's start right away. So Retribution Paladin. I wanted to start with Retribution first because they do get a rework in 10.0.7. There's a reason. Basically, mobility, defensive, how they deal damage is not in the right place, and the rework is actually mind blowing. It's insane. It's very fun. But I have to judge for 10.0.5. I think it's B tier fun. It is fun because it is still Retribution Paladin. You still have a lot of tools. You do feel like a Paladin again. You have a lot of cool spells, cool animations. You do feel whenever you're pressing an ability that it does damage, and that's very important. There's a lot of specs whenever you're pressing a button, you don't feel the damage. I think Retribution Paladin is fun. Does it work? I don't think so. That's why it's getting reworked. The rework is chef's kiss. Perfect. I think just in general, you might consider maining it in 10.0.7, but I would not really go too far in 10.0.5. There's a lot of Retribution Paladins actually waiting for the rework. There's no real incentive to play it right now because it is very different in how they deal damage and how they play. So in my opinion, the time you're putting it right now is probably to waste. So again, beware and just wait for 10.0.7. Now let's talk about Feral Druids. I think a fantastic class, very fun, very dynamic. Do I like how they deal damage? I don't really like it too much. I did play a lot of Feral Druids these days just to test and play BGs and arenas and such. I just think they do like a few things that they had before in previous expansions. I would say Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Mob. They had like such a fantastic design that whenever you are actually playing on Wrath of the Lich King with Feral, and then you go back to the Feral Druids right now, I feel like it's a straight downgrade in how they deal damage, how they actually CC, everything. I actually like that you can have instant cyclones for some reason. I know that the game doesn't really need that much instant CC because it's already, you have plenty, but I feel like if you can remove a CC to give a CC back, I would say instant cyclone would be much more fun to play. So for me right now, since I have to compare it with Wrath of the Lich King, since I play Feral Druid on Wrath of the Lich King servers, for me it is a A tier spec. It could be S tier if like dot damage and ferocious bite and we're all equal. I feel also right now you have to spam mastery and it feels a bit sluggish. I prefer the haste playstyle where you were like a lot more GCD friendly, more just friendly just in how you deal damage, and it's also more fun whenever you have a lot of haste. Most classes that have like little to no haste feel so a bit sluggish, and I feel like feral druids are like one of them. So for me, A tier. It's still very good though. It's very fun. I would recommend it if you want to main something and you want to put your heart out for one spec and you have like multiple specs in that class that are actually very interesting. I think feral druid is a fantastic choice. Now, I'm biased. I'm biased. I'm a warrior main, man. I make warrior videos. Arms warrior, fury warrior. I'm hesitating even for protection warrior, although I feel like that's a bit troll. I'm not doing it. Restrain yourself, restrain yourself. But arms warrior, man. Arms warrior is such a blast. I think it's an S tier spec. I think it's the most well-designed class in the game. I would say spec because Fury is not that well designed, but Arms Warrior is probably the best designed spec in the game. I think it has everything Blizzard should do for every single class and every single spec. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to have Elemental Shamans play like Arms, but I do like how Arms have multiple options in their talent trees, how they have multiple PvP talents useful for different situations. You don't really have one talent that you have to pick all the time. Even sharpening blade is not like something you want to take every single time. You do take it every single time if you want to do damage and you want to have 50% healing reduction, of course. But there are moments where you could just hop off sharpening blade and just take something else like a defensive, like duel, disarm, whatever, to actually give you more defensives, more survivability. And sometimes in Solo Shuffle, it is all what you need. You don't really need a lot of damage or 50% healing reduction to be winning games. Sometimes surviving is enough. And I think that is a good indication on how well Arms Warrior is currently designed. There's not a lot of specs that are as well designed as Arms. I feel like sometimes you have specs that do feel well designed, but they are actually just like busted, and whenever they are bad, they do not work. Well, for example, Arms Warrior, beginning of the season, everyone put Arms Warrior in D and a C tier for some reason. I was always putting in B, A, or sometimes a bit higher than A. Because I do feel that the potential was there. I do feel like, okay, the numbers were not there, but the potential was there. And yeah, I am right. Like, again, I think if your class, even though they are bad, they do feel great to play, it is already an indication that they are actually doing a good job with that spec. Whenever I'm saying class, remind yourself that it's a spec. Just hop on classic and then retail and then classic, and in classic you don't talk about classes and not specs. But so again, fantastic. I would recommend 100% everyone to play Arms if they are melee main. I think it's that one spec that everyone has to play. And there is also an indication, like in the history of World of Warcraft, Warrior was always the most popular melee class. And Arms Warrior was always the most popular spec. And it doesn't really matter how strong it is, people just do like to play it because it feels really nice. And I think it's a good indication on a job well done by Blizzard for that spec. Now let's talk about a spec that is not really well designed and has pretty much only 2 buttons to press and then a third one sometimes, which I feel like it's not even mandatory, but you can play around it. Fury Warrior is C tier in design. I do play it, I do enjoy it, but because I'm a warrior enjoyer. If I wasn't a warrior enjoyer and I would be a Havoc Demon Hunter enjoyer, I would not play Fury. I feel like Fury is the, should I say worst designed melee? I think it's a worst designed melee spec, I have to say. And I'm going to explain why, because people will say like, you make Fury Warrior videos. Come on, man. You do like Fury, right? You do like it. I do like the idea of a Fury Warrior. I do like Fury Warriors in Vanilla, TPC, Wrath of the Lich King. Even Wrath of the Lich King, I might play Fury Warrior just to have fun in PvP. Although it's not very viable, I would still play it because it is fun. Cataclysm, Mist of Pandaria, that was the best designed Fury spec out there, in my opinion. And then you have Walls of Draenor, then you have like Legion, and then BFA, so bad. And then Shadowlands, so bad. And then you have, right now, very bad. Basically, you have a Bloodbath build, which is basically replacing your crushing, like Raging Blow into Annihilator. And then you have only Bloodbath and Bloodthirst, which is actually two same spells, but one is improved and the one is not improved. And then you have Rampage the Spender. And that's it. Those are your two main striking abilities. And then you, of course, you have Hamstring and such, but we're not talking about that, right? Every single spec, every single class has that. But the two damaging spells are Bloodbath and Rampage. You don't even have anything else. You have Whirlwind, which is basically a CD-based spell that you're only going to do to try to cleave people. It's not going to, like, it's not like you're choosing between Rampage or Whirlwind. It's like you're doing Whirlwind because you have nothing else to press. Or you're doing Slam because you have nothing else to press. That's like a filler of a filler. If you would think Bloodthirst is a filler, then Whirlwind and Slam are both fillers. Or Whirlwind is quite nice in AoE situations where you want to cleave with the extra passive from Whirlwind, so you can cleave with your Rampage and Bloodbath. That's cool, but any other spec has that. Your main abilities that you're going to press all the time are Bloodthirst, Bloodbath, basically the same, and Rampage. And then you have the Raging Blow, Crushing Blow build, which I play, which I prefer, because you have an extra button to press, which is Onslaught, but you still replace Crushing Blow from Bloodthirst. Bloodthirst will only be used whenever you're actually in regeneration, not at any other points, basically. My phone was ringing, excuse me. So not in any other points to do damage, you will do Bloodthirst. It's only for defensive purposes. So basically, you only do Raging Blow, Raging Blow, Raging Blow, Onslaught, Rampage, Raging Blow, Crushing Blow, Crushing Blow, Rampage, sometimes an Execute, but it's still a 2-button spec. And then you have Onslaught Extra, which is cool, and Whirlwinds to cleave and get that passive. But Slam you're not using because it's a filler and does no damage anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I feel like Fury as a whole, they just need a rework right now. I feel like they did the spec a bit dirty. I think, yes, it is dynamic. Yes, it feels like you are a berserker raging, that you are pressing, but basically you're pressing the same buttons. I feel like Havoc Demon Hunter is the better Fury Warrior in the feeling of pressing buttons. And I don't even play Havoc Demon Hunter. Whenever I play Havoc Demon Hunter on my level 60, 62, 63, I don't know what level it is, it feels like I'm actually just a Fury Warrior, but better. I do AoE, I have like also 3 spells to press, but those 3 spells are a bit more engaging. I don't know, I feel like they did Fury Warrior a bit dirty, and the only saving grace is it is a warrior spec, so why not put it in B tier because it's a warrior, but I have to judge it on spec alone, so for me it's going to be C tier. And sorry for the rant, but I want to again make you understand why I put it in C tier, although I play it, although I make videos about it, although I can enjoy it because I enjoy it for what it is. But sometimes enjoying for what it is the problem of current World of Warcraft. Sometimes you have to enjoy it, but also tell yourself some real criticism about spec and say, look, this is not right. A lot of specs has or in need of a rework. I think Fury Warrior, I think even Windwalker a bit, but I think Windwalker, they just need a sort of a power adjustment. I think the spells itself are quite nice, but I think the power adjustments are not correct. Frost Decay, I think they need just a full-on rework, and Unholy Decay as well, to be honest, but Decay is just a mess since Mist of Pandaria again, basically, and Walls of Draenor, and then Legion, they messed up everything. Enhancement Shaman 2 also need a rework or a smoothness towards GCD usage, because they're like, you have only GCDs and GCDs only on that spec. That's the only problem. I do enjoy it though, but they need to smooth out the spec. I think Outlaw, they are fine. I think it's just, again, power shifting into like the abilities from pistol shot towards other abilities, like for example dispatch and such. But we were going to talk about it once we're a bit further. It will be a longer video, so my excuses. Having Demon Hunter, I think it's a fantastic class to play, I think, but I do not play it. And the reason is that's the only class I'm not playing, and with Evoker, I just do not enjoy playing a spec which I feel is made for controller. You don't have a lot of buttons, keybinds. If you're playing Shaman and then you go on your Demon Hunter, it feels like you have 15 extra spots that you can basically use for anything else, and that's actually quite crazy, right? Well, for example, Shaman, they have like keybinds for even just stupid totems, right? Or stupid like, again, abilities that you press because you need to press to make your rotation correct, and all those things. While, for example, having Demon Hunter, yes, it feels good, I think, because it is a recent class. It's Legion, so it's not that far ago. I think 7 years now, something like that. But I think in general it is a good class, so I would recommend that to newer players or older players that want something fresh. I think I'm going to put it in A tier. Me personally, I don't play it because I do not like the feeling of having no keybinds to bind. Like, again, no spells to bind on a keybind. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. You do have a bit more than in Shadowlands, though. I feel like, I think, I do know. I think they have more spells than before, but still, a lot of passives, a lot of things. Again, also melee's turning, like, abilities turning into melee. A simple class to play. I think sometimes simple is also fun, so I would recommend to play Having Demon Hunter if you're new or advanced and you want something fresh. I think Having Demon Hunter can give you that. Windwalker, I think Windwalker is very fun. I think it's not very well designed though, because they do need something like shifting the power of Rising Sun Kick into Blackout Kick into Tiger Palm, which is Tiger Palm, man. I wish abilities like that, like Tiger Palm and Crusader Strike and whatever, although they did rework Retribution, it's a bit better now. But like those abilities, I feel like you could just give a power boost and take away from Rising Sun Kick or from something else, right? And make it feel better to press. Because right now, if you're pressing Tiger Palm, it's basically for something with your mastery, so you need to combo. Basically, you don't want to spam one ability. You want to change your ability every time you're using an ability, and also buffing your blackout kick to do 2 or 3 blackout kicks with one button. But that's it. It's not for the damage. Tiger Palm will never do a 50k in current patch. So again, I think because of that reason, I'm going to put B tier. It's not bad. B tier is not bad, guys. It's not because there is no D tier that means that that B tier is new C tier. It's not the case, but because for me D tier is very harsh. I don't think there is a class that is actually D tier. But for me, Windwalker, very fun, dynamic, but misses a lot of things. It's not feeling that good whenever you're pressing Tiger Palm and Blackout Kick sometimes. Although Blackout Kick, they did buff it, so now it feels a bit better. But it's not like Arms Warrior, where every time you're doing Overpower, every time you're doing a Moral Strike, Execute, anything else really. Even if you're doing a Slam spell, a spec, you can play that. Or Rand, also good damage. It's not like that. Like Tiger Palm is like Tiger Palm is basically Slam from Arms Warrior, and that should maybe be better because it's weird, right? Tiger Palm is like the first ability you get at the beginning of the game whenever you started in Mist of Pandaria, and now yeah, it is just an afterthought, so that's a shame. Unholy DK, I think it's I want to put in B tier, but I'm going to put it in A tier. I think it's fun because you have a lot of things to do, have a lot of GCDs to press. They do need to rework because I feel like it's too much button bloat. I think it doesn't fit the current game status and game design. Again, I still prefer Mist of Pandaria and Holy Decay. I think Necrotic Strike, how it was before, was something fantastic, and now you have that in a passive, Necrotic Wounds, which is not as fun. It doesn't feel right, and I don't know, man. If any one of you guys played Unholy Decay whenever you had Necrotic Strike, something that you had basically, um, which made you fantastic. Basically, it was very fun to play around. Or even if you're like Wrath of the Lich King, you play that, you do feel like Unholy Decay in Wrath of the Lich King is just more than just putting diseases and pets. It's also like Gargoyle again, Wrath of the Lich King as well, but Scourge Strike also does a lot of damage. um I don't know, man. Death Coral, all those things. It was very fun, and again, they kind of made it a bit too complicated for the sake of making it complicated, because it is not really complicated, right? It is just like a bit contrived. So I think for me it's A tier because it's fun, but I don't think it's that much fun. It is really close to B tier, huh? But I feel like I have to make some separation. And when we talk about Frost Decay, I think it's the same as Fury Warrior. It might be B tier to be honest, because I do like Frost Decay, but people would put it in C tier probably. But I like Frost Decay because I like the fantasy behind Frost Decay. But design wise, I think putting so much power into Pillar of Frost is a mistake. Because again, you are a bit bottom, like you're making you actually make the spec nerfed because of Pillar of Frost. If Pillar of Frost is a bit nerfed, you can put more power into Blade Obliterate, a bit more power in Frost Strike, into Howling Blast, into the dots, into the Remorseless Winter. But right now, since Pillar of Frost is so much stronger, you cannot have Obliterate crit for 50k outside of Pillar of Frost. Well, of course, if you get like a proc and such, it's always going to be like a lot of damage. But basically, physical obliterate will do no damage. It's only whenever you're critting, whenever you're having a killing machine, that you will do damage with your obliterate. So basically, you will have to spam mastery, and you don't really have anything else going on for you. I think also it's very easy to stop someone with Pillar of Frost. You just disarm it, stun it, fear it, and yes, you have an answer for everything like Lichborn, Trinket to disarm, Iceborne Fortitude to stun. But the problem is you have to blow so many things to just do one Pillar of Frost that you might not kill, and then the second Pillar of Frost you're disarming, like you're disarmed all the time, stunned all the time, and feared all the time. So I think if you can shift that away from Frost Decay and redesign it, it might be a very fun spec. But right now it is just fun because you actually play it because it is fun. But the design decisions is very frustrating, because if you play Frost Decay, you play versus warriors, rogues, windwalkers. You know what I'm like telling. It's very frustrating to get disarmed on your only go that you can actually use to kill people. So for me, B tier. Enhancement Shaman. I like Enhancement Shaman, guys, because I do play a lot of Enhancement Shaman. But I'm going to put it in B tier again. I think it's very fun. I'm going to put it ahead of Windwalker. I think it's very fun, but the design decisions are still not good enough. It's too easy to stop an Enhancement Shaman, too easy to kill one. The damage is very cool, but you have a lot of bottom bloat. You have a GCD for every single action you're doing. Feral Spirit, GCD. Heroism, if you're having a PvP talent, GCD. Um, even just like Doomwinds, GCD. Ascendance, GCD, and a 3-minute CD. You have so many things. I think every single cooldown you can use as a Enhancement Shaman has a GCD. The only things that you have no GCD of is Wind Shear, and I don't remember. I think something else. I don't remember. I think Tremor. Tremor also maybe? I don't even know if it has a GCD or not. That's why it feels super good to play full haste, man, because you have to use that many GCDs that if you have a lot of haste, you can actually like bypass it a bit, but it's there's still a GCD, so you cannot macro Ascendance with Feral Spirit, or you cannot macro. Spirit Walk has no GCD. Excuse me. Spirit Walk has no GCD. Feral Spirit, you cannot put it with Ascendance. Before you could, but now you can't. I remember whenever we played in Beast of Pandaria, I think. Still, Beast of Pandaria is a great expansion. Dragonflight is better, in my opinion, like system-wise. But Beast of Pandaria was very fun. I had like a one-shot macro as Elemental Shaman and Enhancement Shaman, and it worked perfectly. But right now, you don't really have the opportunity to even do a macro to just alleviate the amount of GCDs you use to actually be performing. And I think they just need that as a rework, like a GCD rework for them, or give us Chain Harvest. I would be very happy with that, and remove either Ice Strike or Lava Lash. To be honest, do not remove Lava Lash because it is a ability that is really age old. Like it's since the end of time, so I'd prefer them not to remove it. And even Ice Strike, I'd prefer not them to remove it. But it could like do extra enchants. Like right now you only have Wind Fury and Flame Tongue weapon. Where are the other enchants, man? Sometimes you don't want to play Wind Fury, you want to play like an elemental build. So it would be cool to have double Lava Lash, like double Flame Tongue, or like the Frost weapon enchant with the Flame Tongue, or Rock Biter. I don't know, man. Give us more fun. Right now, enchant-wise, you only have Wind Fury and Flame Tongue. And Wind Fury is something you have to even take a talent for. So it's so bad anyways. But it's still fun, but so bad. It's so frustrating that they cannot make the design coherent. The talents, you have choices. Make these choices good. You have so many talents that you have to use. I made a video yesterday. You have so many talents to use to make a Lava Lash build. You have to take them. Instead of baking them into one talent, they put like 7 talents, like I think 5 talents that you have to take with multiple points. And it's just so bad to actually make one build work while you know that some points can just be fused together and you can maybe go for something else. But anyways, that's the only frustrating part. I think GCDs and the talent builds a bit different. And enchants, I would like to see more weapon enchants like the good old days. But anyways, I digress. Now let's start with Survival Hunter. I think Survival Hunter is a fantastic spec to play. I do play it sometimes. I do main BM Hunter more than Survival. You're going to say, how dare you like BM Hunter more than Survival? Well, I'm someone simple, man. If you make my spec be coherent and fun and dynamic and it feels good to play, it's enough for me, man. And I know that Havoc Demon Hunter is the same as BM Hunter. Basically, it's a feels good spec to play. Although I don't really play Havoc, but I know that it is. Survival Hunter is also a very feels good spec to play with the 4 sets. Mongoose Bite doing insane damage. Your bombs doing a bit less damage than Shadowlands. Kill shot procs with your coordinated assault. All those things feels very nice on Survival. And I think Survival is a high skill cap class that if you play, you get rewarded with. Like by being better, just get rewarded. Yes, you are squishy. Yes, you will die. Yes, you don't have Craving Stratagem, so you do feel bad if you play Shadowlands and then you hop on Dragonflight. I think Survival Hunter is one of those sleeper specs that people do not play pretty much, but it has nothing to do with the fun factor. It has only to do with the ability to be better on the spec, and it's not an easy spec to play, so people do avoid it, like Subtlety Rogue, basically. Although Subtlety Rogue, I don't know if it's really hard, but that's an opinion. I guess it is hard, but I think the damage rotation is not very impressive. I think it's very defensive that you have to play to run away and restuff. I think it's very fun to play as well. But anyway, Survival Hunter S tier spec, I think it's also very well designed. PvP talents, you have a lot of things you can switch out and switch on. Talents, I feel like it's a bit contrived. It could be A tier just based on the talents. But if they change a few things on the talent section where you could actually choose specific things and hop on to different builds, I think it would be like even better in arms. But right now, it is very close to arms in fun category, I would say. Subtlety Rogue. So I started to play Subtlety yesterday just because I wanted to try things, and it's always good content to have multiple specs and multiple classes ready. Um, it's very hard for me to make it work because it's like a setup spec that I do not really play these days. So I'm like someone that can face tank things, and a Subtlety face tanking things is not a good thing. So it feels hard to play for me, but I know that some people can make it work. I think in general, you have two builds. So you have a build with Secret Technique, with Eviscerate doing good damage, and your Rapture also, Rapture is also doing good damage. And then you have like the other way, which is basically your builders doing a lot of damage. Um, all of these are good and fun. I think you're also a bit contrived into full mastery, and you play with zero haste, and zero haste feels a bit bad and feels also weird to play, to be honest. But I'm going to put it in A tier because it is a rogue spec, and you basically, if you want to play RBGs, you are like a god there. Although you are like sitting bases, it's still very fun, I think. Yeah, I think Subtlety Rogue does deserve A tier. It really does. And now Assassination Rogue, I'm going to be honest, man. I know it's busted right now and it will get a nerf, but it is the most fun as rogue spec to me. It is a spec that reminds me a bit of warrior, since you do want to fight all the time. You don't want to really run away, and that's something that I do appreciate. I think there is also a bit of build diversity, although right now 4 poisons is just that much stronger, and that's why everyone plays it. Mind numbing is too strong. I think if they nerf mind numbing or remove it, people will just hop off Assassination Rogue and actually play others like not Assassination Rogue, but hop off the 4 poison and play other things like King's Bane, for example. But I think it's a very fun spec. Not so high skill cap as Subtlety Rogue, but still enough to entertain yourself. It's my favorite rogue spec, always has been. Even in Wrath of the Lich King, although I know Multilate is not the best spec of the, especially in arenas, since again it's not really as viable as Shadowlands, but it always was my favorite spec out there. Assassination, very fun. I know that a lot of rogues will cringe me putting a like Assassination in S tier, but I am a warrior mind, right? If you put me a rogue spec where I can stealth and also just be into the fray all the time, sign me on it, because I don't like to run away. But Outlaw Rogue is a bit like this, but still I do not really like that though. I feel like there is too much power into a pistol shot. There is not enough power into between the eyes. Dispatch does not that much damage. Like, it feels weird to press. I think it's basically like a rotation thing. It's not like something you're going to press to do like 100Ks. At least it doesn't feel like you're doing 100Ks. I preferred Shadowlands Outlaw, but because it was busted, basically, it's not really on the same level. You die very quickly as well. I think if they put Outlaw Rogue a bit more tanky, it would be more playable right now. But every time I'm playing with an Outlaw Rogue, it's always focus your Outlaw Rogue because he dies. It's not like in Shadowlands where you want to actively not focus them. So they did a 180 on that, but I think it's just like a power shift. They just need to shift power away from pistol shot, put it in dispatch, put it in between the eyes. Do not put it in ambush. Ambush is cool, but let's be real, it's not a Subtlety Rogue. Come on, man. Making it work with ambush is fun, but it is not a Subtlety Rogue. It's weird. Let's make Sinister Strike great again. Let's make Eviscerate great again. Dispatch great again. Let's make Between the Eyes like a shitload of damage, something that you're going to press and something is going to blow up. Like, Between the Eyes is basically a bigger pistol shot, but does less damage than a pistol shot. Really? Really? Anyways, that's pretty much my rant for Outlaw Rogues as well. I hope you liked this video. I will make a ranged one probably next week, or maybe in 3 days or 4 days. Algorithm wise, if I cannot put it too close of each other because they will eat each other. It's not really cool. But yeah, that's pretty much my list. I think it's coherent. I main arms, so basically I'm very biased, but I know that it is a very well-designed spec. Feral Druid, I do not main it, but I know it's a fun spec to main. Demon Hunters as well, I don't play it, but I know it's very fun, and a lot of people play Demon Hunter, so there is a reason for that. Unholy DK, I play it, but I do not play it, and I do not really enjoy it compared to Frost. But I know that you will have more fun with Unholy DK than with Frost because you have more decision makings on builds, you have more button to press, you feel like you're doing more, you have more possibilities, you survive more. And Celebrity Rogue, I do not play it, I do not main it, and really acknowledge it that it is a fun spec to play because there is a lot of fans of Celebrity Rogue for a good reason. I have voice crack. Again, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet, and we will catch each other very soon in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.